Everyone. I'm excited to be here and tell you a little bit about Maatrx. So, we are currently standing in the golden era of medicine, where breakthroughs in biologics and AI-driven discovery are quickly evolving. However, these 21st century cures are hitting a 20th century wall, with supply disruptions hitting a 10-year high in early 2024. Right now, the industry is struggling with a massive competitive bottleneck. Geopolitical tensions and shifting tariffs have turned global shipping into a crisis premium zone. And because we lack visibility, we are seeing $35 billion in value evaporate every year due to cold chain failures. And that is life-saving medicine that simply dies in transit. When you combine the stalled access with reactive decision making, you get a hidden tax that erodes operating efficiency by 25% every decade. So while we are in our golden era of medicine, we are in the dark age of how we move it. Our supply chain vulnerability is the greatest threat to the ROI of our R&D. And so as scientists, I love thinking about the what ifs because it is essentially what drives innovation. So what if we could reliably anticipate, predict, and mitigate these vulnerable and clinically impactful drug shortages before they disrupt the ecosystem? This innovation and execution gap is why we built the Maatrx ecosystem, the first platform designed specifically for system-wide pharmaceutical resilience. We don't just provide data, we provide a workflow that replaces reactive decision-making, offers competitive advantages, and resolves the lack of visibility. Our ecosystem operates across three critical phases. First, we detect and assess using at-risk Rx and pulse Rx. We move beyond fragmented data to provide actual scoring on supply chain vulnerability, and crucially, the clinical impact of those risks complemented with data from the regulatory system. Second, we coordinate. Fragmented data is the enemy of speed. Forum Rx and MediMatch Rx break down silos, allowing clinical and supply teams to unify and collaborate on the response in real time. And finally, we respond. Through Synapse Rx, we provide reactive decision support tools supported by Pulse and at-risk that allow for agile mitigation, ensuring that the disruption doesn't become a disaster and saving hours of administrative work and research. By integrating these modules, we turn what was once a fragile manual supply chain into a high-performance profit engine. Well, what does this transition look like in terms of the bottom line? Well, our systematic methods deliver game-changing results. We solve the timing, forecasting, and visibility problem with our proactive risk sensing, providing up to 6 months early warning windows with threefold improved forecasting compared to the current average, creating structural lead over your competition, effectively allowing you to reclaim that 25% profit erosion and reinvest those millions back into R&D. We solve the labor and inefficiency problem. By moving to a unified dynamic ecosystem, we save teams over 50 hours on administrative tasks per month, removing the high error rates, time spent on case prioritization, and resource allocation that define the current reactive landscape. In short, Maatrx ensures that the golden era of medicine isn't just a law of achievement, it's a financial and operational reality. When we look at the current landscape, we see a fundamental lack of balance. Our competitors exist widely in the US market, with Canadian competition existing at a corporate internal system scale, such as McKesson's internal system. Existing solutions provide supply chain data but lack clinical impact scoring, leaving health systems unable to prioritize life-saving medicines during a crisis. Unlike TraceLink, McKesson, and BlueSight, which track inventory, Maatrx tracks clinical and shortage risk by a molecule at a system-wide scale, providing strategic insights. So you know what shortages matter clinically and where you should be directing your focus. Maatrx is the only regulatory-grade solution on the market. Our core product, At-Risk Rx, which is our predictive analytics tool, built the foundation for Health Canada's critical and vulnerable drug list, solidifying our position as a regulatory-grade solution. And for context, this critical and vulnerable drug list alone is predicted to save Canadians $32 billion per year. Existing tools aren't dynamic or regulatory grade. They track the shipment, but they don't track the patient risk. They can't stop the profit erosion caused by reactive firefighting, leaving a massive gap in the market. The global pharmaceutical industry is supported by a $555 billion manufacturing technology market. But within that, there's a specific high growth core, healthcare supply chain management software. which is a $3.94 billion annual market. This is where the world's hospitals, GPOs, and regulators are desperately looking for tools that provide both clinical impact and supply resilience. Our goal is to capture a conservative 0.1% of this global software market in the next 3 years. This conservative target will establish Maatrx as a trusted standard across over 250 organizations across the globe, creating a $3.94 million annual recurring revenue foundation. By capturing this critical slice of the market, we aren't just selling a license, but installing the digital backbone for the world's most vital supply chains. And so the opportunity is massive, but we aren't just theorizing. We have already begun capturing this value and validating our core assumptions. Over just 7 months since launch, we've moved from concept to tangible traction by bootstrapping and leveraging non-dilutive funding capital. We've launched our core products while securing over 80 unique users across the BC Ministry of Health, who leads the Provincial and Territorial Drug Shortages Task Force, Mohawk Medbuy and HealthPro, Canada's 2 largest procurement companies, and additional government organizations and clinical pharmacist users. We're standing at a $240,000 annual recurring revenue in just under a year, with massive wins across the space and pending contracts and international collaborations in the works. These early wins have given us the blueprint for the Maatrx backbone, and now we're focused on future execution. Our roadmap for the next 3 years is designed to take us from these initial pilots to our $3.94 million goal. This plan is a disciplined sequence of technical hardening, regulatory grade certifications, and aggressive sales expansion. Starting from a position of strength with $240,000 in existing ARR, our roadmap is focused on a 3-year climb to capture 0.1% of the market. In year 1, we move beyond our MVP and deepen international presence across at least 1 country by expanding our team to hit our first $1 million milestone. By year 2, we take the platform global, entering our first international market and building dedicated customer support and international ops teams. And by year 3, we will have scaled into 2 countries and over 250 organizations with a dedicated team across global markets. We won't just be a software provider. We will be the deeply customized regulatory grade standard for the global healthcare supply chain. And that brings me to our ask. For Maatrx, the who is just as important as the how much. So our immediate ask is we are looking for strategic partnerships to support global expansion with access to key regulators, market entry expertise, and business development insight. We're looking to expand our panel of advisors to support our expertise with fundamental insights needed for us to scale. And for future, we're looking to fuel execution starting in 2027. For our 2nd and 3rd year, we're raising $1.5 million seed round, and this capital will allow us to move past our MVP, scale into other countries, and build enterprise-level customizations required by the world's largest health networks. We're not just expanding, we're inviting leaders to co-create the infrastructure for tomorrow's drug supply chain. And so Maatrx is the next generation solution for drug shortage management. Join us in creating supply chain resiliency so that innovative products can move to market without getting stuck in a complex supply chain. I invite you to connect with me and check us out. Thank you so much for your time, and a big thank you to the UTIS team for organizing this session.
Thank you so much, Sanjay. Maybe you can get a little bit into who's behind Maatrx and kind of what sets you as the team apart from the competitors.
Yeah, for sure. So essentially, our team is made up of scientists, data-driven leaders. So I'm co-founder and operations lead. My background is in data science, real-world evidence, and leading policy impactful work. I'm joined by my co-founder, Dr. Mina Tadros, who is a pharmacist and professor at the University of Toronto, who leads multiple high policy impact work, leveraging our proprietary data sets and real-world evidence. We also have our lead clinical advisor, who is a physician and brings in a lot of that clinical network to support some of that clinical scoring and impact assessment. We're also supported by an advisory team of clinicians, legal experts, and scientists across the industry. And essentially, our collaborative approach amongst ourselves and our advisory team of experts lays the foundation for our cutting-edge research and bringing in some of the science and data-driven insight that provides a unique and unbiased source of information for all leaders across the supply chain.
Great. And it's been really impressive and great to work with this team to be able to generate over 200,000 in ARR in just a short amount of time. Maybe another question I have for you here is what are some of the use cases for Maatrx, and if you can take perhaps the audience through how it's currently being used?
Sure, yeah. Let me just go back to our product slide to kind of guide you through what's being used right now by our users. So we do have policymakers and procurement companies on the platform. One of the major things that I'm seeing is that they are using at-risk RX to kind of provide the strategic insight view into which drugs are at highest risk for supply chain vulnerability and will lead to the biggest clinical impact. This really helps them prioritize that case management and understand which drugs they should be focusing on. So this can lead their contracting decisions, which cases should be brought up to further discussions in working groups, and then supported by Pulse RX, which is actually one of our newer products. That one consolidates drug shortage Canada reports. So instead of having to seep through every single report, it provides this cleaner dashboard that you can stratify by your needs. So using both these data-driven tools, they can then talk to and coordinate amongst their groups using Forum RX, which is our discussion board platform, and MediMatch RX, which is in the works, and that's our inventory platform. That's more meant for hospitals. So we do have two key users. We have the enterprise and clinical users. Currently, our enterprise users are mainly using our detect and assess tools, our Forum RX, and also Synapse RX, which saves them hours and hours of time that they would normally spend researching these medications.